At this point, the position is completely lost. Black is up 2 pawns and the engine evaluates this as -5. And yet somehow 12-year-old Sergey Sklokin manages to beat the world chess champion with the white pieces. Let's go through the game move by move and see exactly what happened. So this was round 3 of the World Rapid and Blitz, and we have Sergey Sklokin playing with the white pieces against world champion Gukesh with the black pieces. So the game starts with e4, c5, a Sicilian. We get the Sicilian natched off, and white opts for the aggressive Sozin. So this is generally a very aggressive setup. Fischer played this consistently against natched off, so I'd assume he had really good prep here. So white plays e6, and here he plays the move a3. Usually theory says bishop b3 or castles is best, but here he goes for a3, and after b5 he goes bishop b3. So after this, bishop e7 and f3. I did some analysis and I was wondering why a move like bishop b7 won't work, and the idea is that you actually sack this pawn, because if you defend it with a move like f3, black gets counterplay with d5, and all of a sudden there are squares for his pieces. So instead of this, after bishop b7, you have to play a move like bishop e3 and then sack the pawn just to get a bunch of counterplay. So I'm assuming that he had all this in prep, and Gukesh as well. So he played bishop e7, and after f3 and bishop e3, white has completed his development. He's intending to castle and start an attack. So bishop b7, queen e2, knight d7, castles. This is all normal things. And after knight c5, black has also developed his pieces. White has completed everything, and now it's time to attack. White plays g4. g4 is a strong move. This is already slightly annoying for black. You're threatening moves like h4, h5, g5. So Gukesh plays the move knight fd7, just preventing any g5 currently. And he plays h4. You can't take the pawn here because after queen h2, you have a weakness on h7. So after moving here, you just get checkmated. That's why he plays the move rook c8. And here, white plays a really nice, simple move, king to b1. This is generally a really good move to include. You just want to get away from this, the rooks, the line. Just move away and then start your attack. So here, Gukesh makes a mistake with knight to b6. Now, why is this a mistake? I think the mistake is because the knight is too far from the defense of the king. Now look at his pieces. There are 3 pieces, but they're all far from the king. So white just simply continues with his attack. g5. Here black plays d5, white takes. Computer gives us a mistake, but the computer's best move here is bishop a2. And this is a blitz game, so this will require a lot of calculation to find. A move like e takes d5 is very natural, and after knight takes b3, here white made a huge mistake. He played the move c takes b3. Now the reason this is a bad move and it shifts the advantage to black now is because after knight takes d5, and if you take knight takes d5, queen takes d5, you see now the pressure is there. You can't really move this knight. The bishops are looking at your pawns, and any move like h5 can be simply met by bishop takes g5. So the attack slows down, and that's the reason why c takes b3 was a bad move. He could have played the great move knight to c6. This intermezzo was very important because you get one of the bishops. If you take and play queen c7, now you take. With this bishop not being there, there's way less pressure on the f3 pawn, and white can now comfortably continue his attack. So here he plays knight takes d5, and white plays knight e4. So he wants to continue with h5, h6, and the knight is now there to defend the g5 pawn. So he plays queen to d7, h5, e5, and this is just classic Gukesh style of stopping white's attack. He slowly kicks back white's knight, and then he brings his queen there, again slowing down any attack. And after rook g1, he brings the other rook to d8, and already black's pieces look fantastic. You have to always be aware of any types of discovered attacks, maybe knight f4, and the bishop is always eyeing on these, the knight and the pawn. So that's why here he plays g5. He over pushes, he goes with g5, and after f takes and h6, black has completely stopped white's attack. Gukesh played this amazingly well. Now white has to defending against black's threats, and he does this by bishop c1. I guess allowing knight takes e3 would be a bit dangerous, so that's why he just played bishop c1. And already white has 9 seconds here, and Gukesh has a huge time lead, especially in a blitz game. So after knight f6, if you take after bishop takes f6, you have really huge issues with defending this knight. If you take, suppose, and you play a rook g2, this guy is just going to do this, get this, and you really don't have anything much. And always the move like bishop takes f3 is also there. So let's go back to the game. He plays knight f6 and white plays knight to e3, attacking the knight. Good move. Bishop takes e4, take, queen takes e4, and bishop to c5. So after the move bishop c5, this is a skewer. It's pretty clear that white is in a really bad position. He has a lot of weaknesses. The attack is, there's no more attack. And this is a game Gukesh would win night and day. So let's see how he converted this. After rook ge1, he played queen takes g6, now being 2 pawns up. And after rook g1, queen e4, with 18 seconds now and white having 5 seconds, his opponent tried the move queen to f2. Now this is a really nice idea. You may be wondering why not just something like rook d3 or knight d5, just putting pressure on this knight. But a move like rook d3 would lose because of queen takes f6, and there's a pin along this line. That's why he plays the move king h7 first, stopping any threats of queen takes f6, and after a move of queen g3, again threatening g5, he simply plays rook d7. Now there's no attack. Black is going to continue with moves like knight h5 and continue putting pressure on this knight. So he plays queen h3 and now rook d3. There's no more mate threats, so he plays rook d3. This knight looks like it's gonna fall, so his opponent plays queen g3 once again, and after g5 he plays the move rook e1. The engine gives it a minus 4.5 advantage. The reason for this is white is so restricted. He can't move his knight, he can't move his rook, he can't move his bishop, and the queen's the only piece that can move, but it can only move here and there, otherwise you lose the knight. And here Gukesh plays the move knight d5. This is not really accurate. The reason for this is because after knight takes d5, you get rid of white's the piece which white had the most difficulties with. You can't take the queen here because after simply rook takes e4, white is just a piece up. So after knight d5, takes, and queen g4, white all of a sudden has some chances. He's thinking of some perpetuals with queen f5 check, maybe bringing the rook included, try and give some checks and hoping for a draw. And here Gukesh blunders with the move queen takes b3. The reason this is a bad move is that the queen is now away from the king's defense, and after a simple move like king a1, white is threatening for all sorts of checks. Suppose you play a move like queen f7, right? You defend this, you defend any checks, you stop the rook to f1. White simply plays queen e4, and after queen g6, he has a repetition. And if you go up, you're the one who has to be in defense right now, because the rook is looking at the bishop, and black has to be really careful with how he defends this. So instead of this, white plays the move king to b1. I don't really understand this move. It seems like king a1 was better every time. the problem with king b1 is now if you play a move like queen f7, which Gukesh did, and you play queen e4 check and queen g6. If you play queen b7 check now, this moves like rook d7 check. So it's a check now. Before the king was here, there was no rook d7. So you have to play a move like queen e4 and trade off queens. And this happened in the game. But instead, after queen g6, white realized he doesn't have any queen b7 and he plays the move queen takes g6, king takes g6 and rook takes e5. Okay, now we reach this position. This is an endgame with the same colored bishops, but black is up 2 pawns. And these are connected pass pawns. I mean, there's really nothing better you could ask for. And here, Gukesh plays the move bishop to g1. This is already a slightly inaccurate move. I don't understand why he did this. I mean, he did play this move with just 6 seconds on the clock, but I feel a simple move like bishop d6 would have been enough. After a move like rook h6 check and king h5, you're threatening things like bishop f4, trading off the bishops, and then having 2 extra pawns. So, but instead of this, Gukesh plays the move bishop g1 and allows white to capture a pawn. But despite giving the pawn, black is still winning. Black has 2 extra pawns, and if he manages to move the king, this is just completely winning. So here he plays rook c5 check, king d1, rook d5 check, king e2, and he plays bishop d4. So the issue black is facing is that if you move the king, you lose this pawn. And if you play a move like g4, you get checkmated because the bishop was there. So how do you somehow defend this pawn and then move the king and start pushing? So Gukesh plays bishop d4. His idea might have been to play bishop g7 and then start pushing. White responds with b4. Here white could have played the move b3. The idea is that you want to create your own passed pawn and create some counterplay on the queen side. But obviously they have way less time. They only have like 9 seconds or 10 seconds. So he plays the move b4, fixing this pawn. Black plays rook e5 check, king d3, bishop f2, and rook a5. The engine gives us as a terrible move, but I actually think it's genius. This move was just a slight trick to entice black to play the move g4, which Gukesh did. The reason for this is after g4, black just forgot the entire reason why he couldn't play it before, and white simply played the move rook to a6. Now there's no way to defend the h pawn. The bishop e3 is stopped. Any checks can just be met by king e4 or king e2, and this pawn is falling. With this pawn falling, this looks very drawish now. And that's why after rook a6, the evaluation goes to 0-0. So after g6, rook takes h6, king g4, rook g6 check. And after a few checks, black realized that this is a draw. Because if you play something like king g2, white can just sack the bishop for this pawn. And if he can somehow get this pawn, he's just drawing the game. So a sample line would be, suppose rook d5, I don't know, king e4, rook d4 check, king e5, and then how does he continue? If he moves the king somewhere there, this guy could just take, and you can't take with the bishop because your rook hangs. And after king takes, you just play something like this, take the pawn, and it's a draw. There's no way to win this. So instead of this, Gukesh plays this smartly. He plays king f5, trying a different angle. And after rook g5 check and rook g4, we get this position. So white just plays the move bishop f4. Now he's just threatening to win this pawn. There's no way to stop this. If you play something like rook e4, thinking you're pinning him, after rook g5, you lose the rook and you lose the game. So that's why after bishop f4 and king e2, this pawn is just gone. You might be wondering why he didn't just take directly, because of rook f3 and then rook takes g3. So that's why after king e2, now you just win the pawn. If you play g2 or something, you just take. So that's why after bishop d4, take. So 10 moves back, black had actually 2 extra pawns and white had to hold on to dear life. But now white is actually up an extra pawn and it is black who has to hold the draw. So after bishop g3, bishop b2 and rook f4, this was actually just a way to decide the game. Just take, take and take. And if you play something like this, this is a draw. Instead of this, Gukesh tries to be ambitious. He plays the move rook g5, rook f3, king c4, and he tries to slowly push. And here we reach this position. White again offers a rook trade, and this time it's basically forced. You either take or you play what Gukesh did. If you move the rook anywhere else, you just lose the bishop, and if you take, this is a dead draw. And here Gukesh played the move rook to f4. This is the move that shocked the chess world, because no one could believe that a 2800 player missed the move bishop g3, and now you're completely losing. You lose your bishop. This is unbelievable. Gukesh continues with rook g4, but after simply taking and winning the next pawn, Gukesh just resigned. So from a completely winning position all the way back here to eventually reaching a drawn position and then becoming over ambitious and missing the move bishop g3. Well, this was an intense game. Sergey had to find these moves and he defended extremely well, especially under time pressure. I hope you guys enjoyed this game review just as much as I did. It was very instructive to see how white defended against these 2 pawns, how black could have won, and eventually after reaching a drawn position, black became over ambitious, tried to push, tried to do too much, and eventually lost the game. If there's one thing you should take away from this game, is that ambition without moderation is destructive. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time.